They're publicly hiring perverts to run everything.
That's wrong. I mean, I listen to your show every day, and I got to tell you, I got the back of my car plastered with bumper stickers that I've gotten off you.
Well, thank you, sir. We couldn't do it without you.
And I just wanted to ask you a question. You know, I got pulled over a month ago in Wakefield, New Hampshire, for speeding. They said I was speeding, and I had a returning vet that was just back, maybe not even a month. And it felt like a setup because they came to the car. And they're like, who's he? Who's he? And I'm like, I don't know. I picked him up hitchhiking. And they basically just, like, without throwing me out of the car, they basically told me to get out. And they searched my car. And in his backpack, he had needles and stuff. And they basically got me with everything that they got him with. And I didn't know what was. Well,
that's easy. You just get a jury trial. And you go, hey, I just gave a hitchhiker a ride. And this feels like a setup. And I mean, if they did set you up, can you imagine how horrible the lives of those police are? I mean, folks, when you do stuff like that, you get bad mojo, okay? Karma, reap what you sow, whatever you want to call it. I mean, you wonder why your life's so miserable. If you randomly pull people, you know, sit there and have one of your people out there as an informant and then do that to set people up, it's just incredible. But it might have just been that was somebody they were tracking and they pulled you over. But, I mean, that'll be found not guilty by a jury trial very, very quickly.
Yeah, and this might make you laugh a little bit. I mean, I was at the races in Loudon a couple weeks ago, and state police, it's like New World Order times 10 there, you know?
No. This is the takeover. We're all being acclimated to martial law so the bankers can destroy the country. Well, NYPD to launch all-seeing tracking system, and they're hiring all over the country people like the president of Penn State who helped cover up that little operation, that little money-making operation as a part of a secretive Homeland Security group. And Big Sis has announced that 30,000 drones will be used for public safety. We had an article out on that on Friday. It was added into another article at Infowars.com that got linked up at the Drudge Report. Drones to be used for public safety. But we have a separate article, not that one, that just focuses on that, that we're going to be covering after we go to some of your phone calls here. Walter in New Jersey is, because I opened the phones up, and the last caller, I wanted callers to call in about the fact they've introduced a bill to ban all semi-autos, basically, and the clips. And I didn't even know Michael Savage has endorsed this. Basically, all the so-called conservatives got desperate because they realized the whole game was up because America woke up and became pro-gun. So they're now flipping over going, well, it's pro-gun to turn your guns in. And now I'm a liberal because I don't want to turn my guns in. Did you call in about that, Walter, or something else?
Yes, I did. Alex, first-time caller, long-time listener and watcher. I was at Chantilly to sign my InfoWars flag on the last day down there back in June. Yes, as far as the cybersecurity bill is concerned, our two illustrious senators, Lautenberg and Menendez, have signed on to this bill. And I sent them emails, and I'm totally frustrated with this whole thing. But what I'd also like to know is, what happens if they knock on my door at 3 a.m. in the morning?
Well, they won't knock. No, they'll come in. And I mean, their favorite thing is hit you with CS and set your house on fire. And they'll make some examples. And, you know, hoorah, Team America wins for the bankers. I mean, they're getting them all geared up for it. A lot of these guys are looking forward to this.
Yeah, well, I'm all geared up, too. I pity the people that come in.
Well, here's the deal. Sir, this is what's going to happen. If they start going into people's houses and shooting them up and, you know, going after those that don't turn them in when the order comes, people aren't going to wait in their houses for the police. I mean, you understand that, right?
Well, I do understand that. I don't want to wait in my house, but if they start this, it's going to be really hard to get away in a car, and if they have roadblocks and all kinds of contingencies set up to get the people. So,
but, I mean, you understand a roadblock would be a death trap for those trying to take the guns, even if they've ordered the armored pillboxes.
Oh, I think so. It's going to be like the Wild West out here or anywhere else.
Well, I mean, look, I don't know how many people have studied guerrilla tactics, but I mean, it's 101 that if, you know, they try to put people in re-education camps and arrest everybody, folks aren't going to just sit in their houses. They're going to go out. And the police are getting ready for this. That's why they're all going to unmarks that aren't even marked. And this is all a covert takeover by foreign banks. America is being conquered right now. This is the fall of the republic. We were taken over from within. And I'm reaching out to military and police to understand that. But, I mean, a lot of them are just going to salute because the bankers use the American flag. You understand that? I mean, a lot of them are on fluoride just like the general public and can hardly tie their shoelaces. But I'm sorry, did you have anything else you wanted to add, my friend?
No, that's pretty much it, Alex. Great job. Love watching your show.
Well, thanks for putting up with me. I appreciate you, my friend. We're going to come back and try to hurry through Frank, Tim, Aaron, and Ghost Recon that are patiently holding. In fact, Ghost Recon's first, then Frank, Tim, and Aaron, and others. And I'll try to refocus here because there's a lot of news I need to hit. But I am going to get into the Second Amendment and play some clips coming up. And we've got some economic news coming up. Quite frankly, again, they're just moving forward even though we're waking up. And they're planning to start a civil war between the police, military, and the American people, which is the plan of the bankers, to then bring in foreign troops after we've defeated our own military and police. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the best of times and the worst of times. The American people are waking up to the New World Order, to the global corporate takeover, to the eugenicist, to the fact that the Green Movement is just an authoritarian movement that could care less about the environment and public safety. Big Sis is announcing drones to be used for public safety. DHS spy in the sky to provide situational awareness. And they've got other bizarre quotes in here about, total awareness and all this other bizarre garbage. So we're going to be breaking all of that down. But Paul Watson just put a new article up at Infowars.com and Prisonplanet.com that really freaked me out. We were talking early this morning, and he said, hey, what articles you want me to look at today? And I said, well, what are you working on? Because most of the time he basically comes up with his own direction, but he'll ask me which direction we should go in. And I said, well, I don't see any coverage other than the Drudge Report and Infowars, drudgereport.com, Infowars.com. I don't hear it on talk radio, not last week, not over the weekend, not today, where they're talking about all these top Republicans saying ban semi-auto weapons, turn them in. And we've got legislation introduced now, racing through the House and Senate, to ban all clips above 10 rounds, possession of them, and to restrict devices, guns that can take them. I mean, this is one of the biggest gun bans I've ever even heard of. This is what Michael Moore is calling for. And I've played the clips here last week of Bill Kristol and all the rest of them saying, you don't need semi-auto, let's ban them. And saying, come on, Democrats, we're going to support you. Don't back off this. Because the whole power structure is now showing their cards that they really fight with each other over power, but not over the direction they want to go in. I mean, Charlton Heston, God bless him, a great actor, been on my show a couple times. He supported the 67 Gun Control Act. When I first heard that, I didn't believe it. And somewhere years ago, I found the TV ad. I've got it somewhere here in the office. We've got like huge storage rooms of tapes and stuff. Him on TV promoting the 68 Gun Control Act, not 67. And that's an example of how they use the people we trust most. And I don't think Charlton Heston was a bad guy. He was just, being sold the idea that it was reasonable to do this. No, ladies and gentlemen, they want semi-autos because they are what can resist a military and foreign takeover. It's not the, quote, assault rifles that are being used in the crimes. They've picked those because most guns are semi-auto, and they're calling all of those assault rifles. Now, I was reading Paul's article when it went up about 10 minutes ago during the last couple breaks, and I was going through the clips. I didn't know Michael Savage had called for banning all semi-autos. There's a video link, an audio link to it. Technically, it's audio put to YouTube. It's a lot worse than I even knew. There it is. Michael Savage calls for gun control. Folks, he was a beatnik in the 60s. And I'm not going to get into Michael Savage bashing fest here, but I remember him saying if you disagreed with the government and were a 9/11 truther, you should be put in a forced labor camp 5 years ago. I remember him saying...
question. I certainly...
Yeah, we'll play that coming up here in a little while. But we've got a whole bunch of these a whole bunch of these clips. And see, now we're going to be called the liberals and the communists because we don't want to turn our guns in. And I'm not joking, by the way, about that. You tell mainline conservatives on Fox News turn their guns in, half of them will do it. And again, they wouldn't have come out like this on a major talking point if the system wasn't desperate and knowing they're getting ready to collapse everything. And Michael Savage and all of them are showing the system that if they go to martial law in October, launch an Iran war, stage a bunch of stuff, that they're going to toe the line. When they get ready to drop the hammer, folks, is when you start seeing behavior like this. Now, if you want to see all the video and hear all the audio and all its horror, go to Infowars.com. Why are Republicans calling to disarm the American people? While the federal government is arming itself to the teeth against conservatives, Paul Joseph Watson, and saying that we're their #1 enemy, real constitutionalist. The recent deluge of attacks against the Second Amendment were completely predictable in the aftermath of the Colorado massacre. But what perhaps wasn't so expected was the fact that a lot of them have come from so-called Republicans. Yeah, I heard so-called conservative talk show host this morning going, yeah, we may have to restrict. Yeah, we may have to have security in the movies. Folks, mass shootings are flat in the last 20 years. They're incredibly rare. But again, they're creating this fear. The TSA is now saying, well, we'll be in the shopping malls now. I told you that rollout was happening. They were getting ready months ago for the rollout. This is all time, just like the underwear bomber was put on the plane by the U.S. government a week before the scanners were set to roll out January 1st. And they actually said on the news, oh, they're putting them in now because of this when they started manufacturing them and put the order in 14 months before. It's all scripted. But this is a big victory. When they say how guns won and they panic at the cover of Time magazine and say, what are we going to do? They don't want to turn their guns in. They're crazy. No, it's because we know you're authoritarians. But now the Weekly Standard's calling for it. Turning your guns, ban all semi-autos. Bill Kristol, Michael Savage, Bill O'Reilly, Rupert Murdoch. Scalia's like, well, hey, you can restrict stuff if it's scary. And he lists some colony ruling about going around with a special axe for chopping heads off and menacing people with it. You can't menace somebody with a firearm. Scalia, you're a lawyer. You're a Supreme Court justice. You know you're lying to people, you sack of trash. You know full well those colony laws were about menacing. We have the same laws today. If I go out in the street with a battle axe and menace people and threaten them with it, that's disorderly conduct, and I looked it up. That's what they're talking about. But he's like, you can't have something that's scary. We have the clip. We'll play it in a moment. But you can read it. Although normally aligned with the right to keep and bear arms, over the last week, numerous self-proclaimed conservatives have proven themselves to be wolves in sheep's clothing. Well, yeah, George W. Bush tried to get the assault weapons ban reauthorized. And I was in McBride's gun shop talking to one of the guys that was a listener, and I said, yeah, I can't believe Bush is supporting it, but what do you expect? And the guy's like, hey, buddy, don't you say that about Bush? And then the owner comes over and goes, no, actually, he is supporting it. And they're like, really? But still, the guy was mad at me. I get it. You don't really want the Second Amendment. You don't really want freedom. You want to feel like the Republican Party is going to save you. Mitt Romney, who supports an assault weapons ban, which means all semi-auto. Notice how they manipulate the language. So they're all calling for it. I mean, this has got just page after page after page after page of Republican leaders calling. And Bill Kristol's like, hey,